Hello everybody and welcome to Missy Lane's Book Nook. We're having a party today and joining me is one of the best partiers ever, my niece Emma Jean. Emma, I know how much you love to party, but can you tell me and our friends at home what your favorite part of a party is?
Dancing.
You like the dancing, me too. Yeah, you have to have good music and good dancing. What else? I think food can make or break a party. I mean, you can either have a really yummy cake or you can kind of have like a kind of cake, right? So good food is important. Yeah, the decorations like the balloons and the streamers, and we have party hats that we made. These are homemade decorations. So you're right, that's important too. Anything else?
When you have fancy dresses at a party.
Yes, you have to have the perfect thing to wear to a party. You're right, and I love your party dress today, Emma. It's fantastic. Well, I'm glad you're joining me here today. We're going to get ready to listen to our first story, and you can let your balloon go too if you want, Em. Our first story is called The Little Bitty Bakery, and there's many different kinds of parties, but this book is about a birthday party. So let's find out who's celebrating a birthday. At the Little Bitty Bakery, the pastry chef was beat from her powder-sugared nose to her flour-dusted feet. She cut the day's last cookie, checked her custard twice, bid goodnight to far-off France, left cheesecake for the mice. But as she hung her apron, her heart began to ache. I've worked away my special day. I've had no birthday cake. It's too late to celebrate, she sighed, and climbed in bed, leaving cookies on the counter, eclairs, and raisin bread. Her rolling pin lay quiet, retired for the night. The whisks and spoons and macaroons were iced with pale moonlight. Soon a rustling stir began behind a sugar bin. 2 ears appeared around the side, pink and wafer thin. Then a pair of eyes peeped out and stole a little stare. A nose as soft as angel cake sniffed the sweetened air. When it seemed the coast was clear, Mouse tinged a timer chime, and soon came 4 more Mouse-amies in record scurry time. They scuttled to a huddle, prepared a secret plan, and launched a luscious mission inside a brioche pan. They gathered tumbled crumbles, bits of sweet delights, grabbed raisins by the wrinkles, but never snuck a bite. They rustled up a hazelnut, and in a dash of time, fetched rainbow sprinkles on the run, a wheel of candied lime. A dainty curl of chocolate was borrowed last of all. It topped a most amazing mound that rose up 5 mice tall. They measured all their morsels in the custard cup, threw in a pinch of cinnamon, and then beat a quail egg up. They shoved it in the oven with tiny heaves and hoes. The rat gave one way with one loud screech, and like sorbet, they froze. A bedspring creaked and settled as swirls of sweetness rose, and spiraled to the second floor, right in the chef's trained nose. Her eyelids fluttered. She smiled a little bit. This dream smells sweet as creme brulee, but who is baking it? She tiptoed down the staircase, as quiet as a cat, clutched a day-old stick of bread just like a baseball bat. She burst into the kitchen. Mice scattered to and fro. They dove into the mixing bowls, and one fell in the cookie dough. The stove was batter-splattered. Meringue peeked from a drawer. The chef stepped on a butter pat and slid across the floor. She came in for a landing before a dazzling treat. It towered like a chef's hat and teetered on mice feet. The tip-top blazed with candles, and the icing read, "Surprise!" The mice tossed sprinkles in the air. Chef's eyes grew round as pies. She tried a lovely forkful. Was that a hint of pear? Or was it chocolate macaroon? Or coconut eclair? She took a taste from one end, a sampling from the other. This was a crumbled jumble cake. No bite was like the other. She asked the mice to join her. A twinkle lit her eyes. You've brightened up my birthday with this jumbled up surprise. They had a celebration and nibbled cake till dawn. And when they set their napkins down, every crumb was gone. At the Little Bitty Bakery, before each morning breaks, now 5 wee bakers fill the shelves with crumbled jumble cakes. So that was a birthday party celebration, right? It was a party of sorts. It was kind of a surprise birthday party. And so that reminds me of a song that I'd like to teach you, Emma, and our friends at home. It's called Happy Birthday, and it's by Tom Chapin. And because it's a nice and slow song, I think it's a good idea to sign some of the words in sign language. And I think you already know part of this because it's called Happy Birthday. That's the two main words are Happy Birthday. And so to do that at home, boys and girls, you just take both of your hands and kind of face your belly. You're not touching your belly, but they're facing your belly. And you're kind of making circles with your hands. And this is how you say happy in sign language. Birthday, there's a couple different ways to sign birthday, but I think the easiest way is to take your finger, your middle finger, touch your chin and then your heart. Your chin and then your heart. So it's happy birthday. You can pick up some more of the signs too as we go along with the song, okay? Are you ready? Let's do it. Ready? Let's do it. Happy birthday, happy birthday, we love you. Happy birthday, and may all your dreams come true.
When you blow out the candles, one light stays aglow. It's the love light in your eyes wherever we go.
Let's sing it again. Happy birthday, happy birthday, we love you. Happy birthday, and may all your dreams come true.
When
You blow out the candles, one light stays aglow.
in your eyes.
It's the love light in your eyes wherever you go. One last
Okay,
time.
let's sing it one more time for everybody who has a birthday this year.
That's all of us, isn't it? Happy birthday, we love you. Happy birthday, and may all your dreams come true. When you blow out the candles, one light stays aglow. It's the love light in your eyes wherever you go.
You blow out the candles.
One more time.
You blow out
The candles, one light stays aglow. It's the love light in your eyes wherever you go. High five, Em. Very good. And so boys and girls at home, I hope you learned something new today too. Of course, you're not going to remember that entire song, but if you can remember two words, happy and birthday, then you did great. All right, well, what do you say we do another story? Because every good party calls for good books too. Don't you agree? And as we talked about before, there's many different kinds of parties. There's birthday parties, welcome home parties, going away parties, costume parties, holiday parties, back to school parties, right? And dance parties. And in our next story, there's some giants who like to dance. So they have a giant dance party. Are you ready to listen? Okay, here we go. Giant Dance Party by Betsy Bird. One day, Lexi decided that when it came to dancing, she was done. What about swing? Asked her mom. Lexi held up her sign, and her sign said, I quit ballet, and tap, and jazz, and tango, and Scottish Highland dancing. Her parents couldn't understand it. But Lexi, you love to dance, said Mom. You live to dance, added Dad. I do love dancing, Lexi admitted, but I'm done. Her parents exchanged a look. They knew why. Those recitals. Lexi loved dancing at home, you see, and she loved dancing with her friends. What she did not love was dancing in a show. When the curtains opened, Lexi would step onto the stage, desperately wanting to dance. But all those eyes in the audience would look right at her, and she would forget to breathe. Then she'd freeze like an ice pop and never dance a step. Not one, Not ever. So she tried hypnotism. She tried pretending Moore and Carol and Anne were people. She practiced for her parents every night while they tried to watch TV. And every time she was sure her stage fright was gone, along came another recital and blammo, ice pop. Then it hit her. The perfect plan. I know. I'll be a dance teacher, she cried. Oh, the minute she said it, she knew it was a great idea. Teachers never have to perform. No stages, no shows, no audience, no ice pops. Just dancing all day, every day. Lexi got busy. On Monday, she made posters and taped them on all the telephone poles in her neighborhood. And then she went home and waited for her students to start lining up. Nobody came. On Tuesday, she pushed all the furniture in the living room out of the way. Nobody came. On Wednesday, she blasted Snap Happy Mambo music from the porch. Nobody came. On Thursday, she stared out the window for 5 hours without so much as a blink. And guess what? Nobody came. On Friday, she gave up. No one wants to learn from a kid, she thought gloomily, especially not a kid who's afraid of dancing in front of an audience. I quit! And this time, she screamed it. Then, on Saturday, somebody came. Now let's be clear about one thing. Giants? Yeah, they don't dance. They stumble and they stomp and they stretch and scratch, but that's not exactly dancing. That's why it was so weird when 5 of them showed up at Lexi's house on Saturday morning and bellowed, "Dance lessons, please." "Go away," she replied. She couldn't teach giants. They were too big and furry and blue. She made little shooing motions with her hands. "Go away!" But the giants didn't move. I quit yesterday," she tried. The giants folded their arms, crossed their legs, and sat down. They stuck out their lower lips. Birds perched on them. "Why do you want to learn to dance anyway?" she eventually said. "We love to dance," said the biggest one. "We live to dance," agreed the others. "But nobody will teach us how to dance," said one of the smaller ones. A giant stuck Lexi's poster under her nose and gave her a little smile. Lexi blinked. She looked down at her poster. It did say she would teach anyone. "Well, okay," she said quietly, though honestly she didn't know where to start. The giants didn't notice. They just gave one another high fives and bounced up and down with glee. Now the next part wasn't easy. The giants weren't kidding when they said they didn't know how to dance. But Lexi turned out to be a good teacher. She showed the giants how stumbles were steps, stomps were taps, and stretches could turn into cool disco moves. She even demonstrated how scratches could morph into jazz hands. Next, she gave each giant a dance to work on. Gully, Irish step dancing. Nisha, the twist. McDuff, interpretive dance. Melina, crumping. And Polly learned to do the chicken dance. They practiced, they studied, and then practiced some more. Then they pranced and spun and leaped and twirled. Before long, they were ready. It was time to show the world. It was time for a giant dance recital. Lexi and Polly and Melina and McDuff and Nisha and Gully got busy. They worked on costumes, selected their music, and taped posters all over town. Everyone planned to come. Giants dancing? Seriously? Who would miss that? When the big night arrived, Lexi felt the familiar butterflies in her stomach. At least she wouldn't have to dance. Instead, she gave her giants a big smile, patted them on the heels, and said, "You can do it!" You could hear their knees knock as they stepped onto stage and the curtain opened. Uh-oh. The music started. The audience waited. Not a single giant moved. Not one. They just stood there like gigantic furry blue ice pops. Question: how do you warm up frozen giants?
Dance.
That's right, you dance. Lexi didn't think, she danced. She leaped onto the stage and did can-cans and pirouettes, a break-dancing spin, an electric slide, and a shuffle off to Buffalo. Macduff was the first to see her leaping, so he swayed, just a little. Macduff moved to his own kind of beat. Nisha noticed next. She tapped a toe and twisted herself into circles. Polly's chicken dance was elegant and refined. The music picked up, and the giants got bouncier and bouncier. Gully's toes pounded the stage till it shook. Melina moved so fast it was like watching fur fly. And the audience laughed and cheered and threw bouquets of flowers. What a show! What a performance! What a giant dance party! The giants took their bows with pride, and as they drew Lexi out for a final encore, she beamed. Her fears were long gone. She may not have been a giant, but boy, did she feel big. Of course, that didn't mean she wasn't still scared of other things. Reading aloud in class was tough. Playing sports was agony. And as for singing, look carefully over here. It says free singing lessons. I have a feeling Lexi doesn't like to sing either, but she might be willing to teach people to sing so she doesn't have to sing on stage herself. All right, what did you think? Did you like that one? Does it kind of make you want to get up and dance? Should we do another song? Yeah? That's a great idea. Okay. We're doing it again from the top.
They look good now. That's what I'm cutting up.
So put your right hand in the air. Now put your left hand in the air. Now clap your hands 2 times. Come on, clap your hands 2 times. Put your hands on your hips. So put your hands on your hips. Now stomp your feet 3 times. Come on, stomp your feet 3 times. Reach down, touch your toes. Now put your hands on your hips. Reach up into the sky. Stretch it out.
Stretch it out.
Stretch it out now. Reach down, touch your toes. Now put your hands on your hips. Now reach up to the sky. Stretch it out now.
Reach again.
Stretch it out now. Jump, 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 jump. Now shake it out now.
Give me your best shake.
Shake it out now. Shake.
Shake all over.
Shake.
Good. Ah,
Okay, it's gonna get trickier.
we're ready.
See if you can keep up. Are you ready? Are you ready?
Yeah.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Let's go. Put your hands up, now put 'em down.
Oh.
Put your hands up, now put 'em down. Put your hands up, now put 'em down. Put your hands up, now turn around.
You turn in a circle? Oh, it's going fast.
Reach to your left,
To your left. Good.
reach to the left, reach to the right. Reach to the left, reach to the right. Reach to the left, reach to the right. Put your hands down, touch your toes.
Down to our toes.
Real slow.
Slow.
Shake,
Slow.
shake, shake.
We did it. That was a lot of fun, wasn't it? But did that ever happen to you, Emma, where sometimes you're like stuck and you don't know what to wear to a party? That happens to me a lot. And then I have to make an excuse to go to the shopping mall to buy a new outfit or a new pair of shoes. Today I brought some party shoes, though. I bought these a while ago. What do you think, Emma? Do you like these shoes? These are my very favorite pair of party shoes. And you know what? Even you boys at home might think it's cool that these shoes change color. Did you notice that? What color are they mostly now, Em? Gold and silver, right? But, ta-da! Rub them the other way and they turn pink and blue. So anyway, in our next book, these young ladies are also going to a party and they're on a hunt for the perfect pair of shoes. So next we have Shoe La La by Karen Beaumont. Party dresses, party hair, need new party shoes to wear. Emily, Ashley, Caitlin, Claire, let's go find the perfect pair. Shoe La La, they're everywhere. Rows and rows, these or those, up, up on your tippy toes. Can't wait to choose new shoes. Here goes. Shoes with zippers, shoes with straps, shoes with buckles, shoes with taps. Shoes with laces, shoes with bows. Sorry, sir, we don't like those. They hurt our toes. I'll try on this rainbow pair. Hey, these match my underwear. Lots and lots of leopard spots, pink and purple polka dots. These show off my pretty feet. These look good enough to eat. Fuzzy boots for when it snows. Ballerina on my toes. Cowgirl, rock star, princess, bride. This pair, that pair. Can't decide. Fancy ribbons, frilly lace. Shoo-la-la, we love this place. Sparkly diamonds, pretty pearls, ritzy, glitzy, glamour girls. Uh-oh, store's about to close. Which shoes should we choose? Who knows? Emily, Ashley, Caitlin, Claire, hurry, hurry, pick a pair. Piles and piles fill the aisles. Never seen so many styles. Shop and shop until we drop. Guess it's time for us to stop. Eeny, meeny, my, oh my. Just don't know which shoes to buy. Can't decide. We've seen too many. Sorry, sir. We don't want any. Tried on every single shoe. Don't know what we're going to do. Somebody thought of an idea. Party dresses, party hair, perfect party shoes to wear. That's pretty neat, isn't it? You know, Emma, that reminds me of somebody else we know who loves to party almost just as much as you do, who always has the perfect outfit and the perfect pair of shoes. Do you know who I'm thinking of?
Natalia.
Your cousin Natalia. And let's give out a shout to Natalia, who's celebrating a birthday this month. Can we wave to Natalia? Happy birthday, Natalia. And we'll wish a happy birthday to everybody who's having a birthday this month of October. Happy birthday to you. I think we have time for a couple more stories though, Emma. So why don't we did a birthday party, we did a dance party. What holiday happens to be in the month of October?
I know.
Which holiday do we celebrate in October? Let me give you a hint.
Halloween.
Halloween. So during this month, you might be invited to a Halloween party or a costume party.
Do you want to do this one next?
Let's do Curious George first. This is Curious George Goes to a Costume Party. This is George. He was a very good little monkey and always very curious. One day, George and his friend, the man with the yellow hat, were on their way to a party at Mrs. Gray's house. George could not wait. He liked parties, and he was looking forward to seeing Mrs. Gray. But when the door opened, George did not see Mrs. Gray at all. He saw a witch! Don't be afraid, George, said the man with the yellow hat. This is our friend. The witch took off her mask. It was Mrs. Gray after all. Oh dear, she said. Did I forget to tell you this was a costume party? George had never been to a costume party before. Inside, he saw more people than he knew. They were all wearing costumes. There was his friend Betsy, dressed up like an astronaut. And was that Bill? Why, he looked just like a mummy. George wanted to wear a costume too. I have some dress-up clothes upstairs, said Mrs. Gray. Would you like to take a look and make the costume, George? Mrs. Gray took George to a room with a big trunk filled with clothes. Borrow anything you'd like, George, she said. I have just the thing for your friend downstairs. George tried on a lot of costumes. The first one was too big. The next one was too small. Another was too silly. And this one was too scary. At last, George found a costume that was just right. George was a rodeo cowboy. He wore a vest and pants with fringe. He even had a lasso and a hat. If only he could see himself in the mirror. George was curious. Could he see himself if he stood on the bed? No, he needed to jump higher. George bounced on the bed. Just a little, but he still couldn't see. He bounced a little more, and soon George was having so much fun he forgot all about looking in the mirror, and he bounced as high as he could until...
He fell.
Crash! George bounced right off the bed. He smashed into the night table and got tangled up in the tablecloth. Suddenly, everything went dark. George heard the people downstairs gasp. What was that? Was that a ghost? A ghost? George did not want to meet up with a ghost alone. He dashed out of the room and ran down the hall. He wanted to get back to his friend in a hurry, and he knew the fastest way. He hopped onto the stair rail and sailed, whoosh, down the stairs. It is a ghost! Someone screamed. Everyone turned. They looked scared, and they were looking at George. The ghost might be right behind him. George flew off the rail and landed, plop, into the arms of a farmer. But this really wasn't a farmer. It was his friend, the man with the yellow hat. Soon everyone stopped looking scared and started to laugh. "That's not a ghost, that's a cowboy," laughed the policeman. "That's not a cowboy, that's a monkey," giggled a princess. "That's not just any monkey," said Betsy. "It's Curious George." Everyone clapped and cheered. They liked George's Halloween trick. "You gave us a good scare, George," said Mrs. Gray, "and I'm glad to see you found some interesting costumes. Now, why don't I take your ghost outfit so you can join the party?" After the guests bobbed for apples, lit jack-o'-lanterns, and played some party games, prizes for the best costumes were handed out. There was 1 prize for Betsy, and 1 for Bill, and 2 for Curious George. "You were the best ghost and the best cowboy, George," said Mrs. Gray. Everyone had a good time at the party, especially George. Too soon, it was time to say goodbye. "Good night, George. Happy Halloween." I want to remind our friends at home that if you like these books, there's plenty more party-themed books. All you have to do is visit the Bethel Park Children's Department, and there are loads of party books. But I thought we could end with this one, Emma, because I have one last question for you and for our audience at home. Do you think animals party?
No.
You don't think so? Like, what about when you're sleeping? Do you think your pets might have a party at night when you're fast asleep? What about barnyard animals? Like on the farm?
Yeah.
I wonder if those cows and pigs and horses have a good time when the farmer's asleep. You never know.
They can roll out of sight.
They might roll out of sight from too much partying. Or to go to a party, you mean? Yeah. You just never know. I don't know. In this story, it's called Stanley's Party. Stanley's a dog, and he really knows how to throw a party. Stanley knew he wasn't supposed to sit on the couch. But his people went out a lot, and they never came home before midnight. So one night, Stanley began to wonder what would happen if he sat on the couch while they were gone. Just for a minute. He put 1 paw on the couch and waited. Nothing happened. He put up a 2nd paw. Slowly, Stanley dragged his whole huge body onto the couch. He sat there, nervously, listening. He waited for someone to yell, "Stanley, get off the couch!" But no one said a thing, so Stanley lay down. The couch was more comfortable than he ever dreamed. Stanley stretched out his legs, put his paws up on the cushions. He sprawled and squirmed and sniffed the leather trim. The couch was wonderful. All that evening, Stanley lolled and lounged on the couch. Just before midnight, he remembered his people. He straightened the cushions, brushed away the dog hair, and hopped off the couch. When his people came home, he was walking to the door. "Good dog, Stanley," they said. "Ruff," said Stanley, wagging his tail. Stanley felt terribly clever. He was so pleased with himself that the next night he decided to try something new. He had noticed that when his people sat on the couch, they often listened to music. Stanley had to see how they got it. He pushed some buttons with his nose, and a moment later, music filled the room. Stanley was entranced. His body began to sway. His feet began to move. Soon Stanley was waltzing around the room. When the music changed, he tried a cha-cha and a tango. He even did a little bit of ballet. Stanley danced up a storm that night. He didn't stop until just before midnight, and then he turned off the music and tidied the couch. When his people came home, he was sitting on the living room floor. "Good dog, Stanley," they said. "Barky bark bark," said Stanley. On the 3rd night, Stanley broke into the fridge. It wasn't hard. He just pushed his nose firmly into the rubber seal and the door popped open. There was a lasagna in there that he'd been watching for days. It didn't last long. And after it was gone, Stanley licked the plate clean and put it in the sink. When his people came home, he was lying in his dog bed. "Good dog, Stanley," they said. "Burp," said Stanley. Stanley couldn't believe his new life. Now, he didn't mind at all when his people went out. As soon as they left, he sat on the couch. He sashayed and shimmied to the music. He nibbled and noshed from the fridge. "I'm having so much fun," thought Stanley. But after a couple of weeks, he realized that something was still missing. One day, when Stanley's people took him to the dog park, he figured it out. He was tired of having fun alone. Stanley trotted over to his best friend, Alice. How'd you like to come over to my house this evening? Said Stanley in dog talk. What for? Asked Alice. Well, we can sit around on the couch, said Stanley. Put on some music, do a little dancing, maybe have a snack. Sounds great, said Alice. What sounds great? Asked Oscar, coming up to join them. Before Stanley knew it, he invited Oscar too, and Mabel, and Digger, and Gassy Jack. He invited 2 more dogs on the way home, and all the dogs he invited talked to each other, talked to other dogs, and then those dogs talked to other dogs, and then those dogs talked to still other dogs. And that night, right after Stanley's people left, the dogs began to show up. At first they came in 2s and 3s, and then they arrived in packs. Some of them were Stanley's friends, but a lot of them were strangers. Stanley wasn't worried. The more the merrier, he said. It wasn't long before the house was jammed with every kind of dog you can imagine. Shaggy dogs, bald dogs, dogs with wrinkles, dogs with fleas, humongous dogs, weensy dogs, dogs with floppy ears. They filled the rooms. They packed the stairs. They flowed out onto the porch and the lawn. Drooling dogs, dainty dogs, dogs that needed a bath. Anyone hungry? Asked Stanley, popping the fridge door open. Dogs poured into the kitchen. Help yourselves, said Stanley. Soon the fridge was bare. Anyone care for some music? Asked Stanley. He put on some rock and roll. The dogs went wild. They stomped, they boogied, they bebopped and jived. They twisted and jitterbugged and mashed. They danced until their paws were sore. They danced till the whole house shook. And who do you think danced the hardest of all? Stanley. It was the best doggone party a dog ever had. It was also the only night ever that Stanley's people came home early. At first, they didn't say anything, and then they said together, very loud, Stanley, bad dog! All the dogs except Stanley had to go home. Stanley helped his people clean up. It took 2 whole days. After that, whenever Stanley's people went out, they took Stanley with them. Stanley didn't mind. He went out a lot, and he never came home before midnight. As for the party, well, this all happened a long time ago. But in Stanley's neighborhood, the dogs still talk about that night. And all the dogs that were there told other dogs, and those dogs told still other dogs. The story spread until dogs all over the country heard it, and then dogs all over the world. And now, wherever dogs gather, from Turramurra to Timbuktu, they tell the story of Stanley's party. And if you don't believe me, ask your dog. And don't forget, boys and girls, lots of party books here at the library for you to come and check out. And our family Halloween party is coming up Saturday, October 27th at 7 p.m. It's a costume party, so you can wear your favorite Halloween costume. We hope to see you then. One more thing, if you're an older kid, and by older I mean kindergarten or first grade, if you're out there watching, I want to remind you about our special birthday club that's happening this fall. More information is in our library flyer or on our website, but I hope you give that a try and check that out. So once again, everybody, happy October, happy partying, and I'll see you next time on Missy Lane's Book Nook. Bye-bye!